Hello, my dear students. So, in this video, let us learn about the kingdom Monera and its subclasses. So, kingdom Monera, already we have discussed in the last video. You have understood that they includes only the bacteria, and bacteria it can survive anywhere. So based on their survival ability, they have divided into three types. Okay, bacteria, when you comes to know, you know many diseases also there and many benefits also there. There are some of the harmful nature also there about the bacteria. We are going to discuss at the end of this video. So hope you are going through the portion and as well as following following me. Are you able to understand? Yes. So concentrate and understand and repeat and watch. If you are not understanding, please refer your textbook if possible. Okay. If the textbook is not there, find out some alternative method to get the textbooks. So I want to tell about the methanogens. Okay, so about archaebacteria, so we have understood that archaebacteria which can survive in the extreme habitat. So archaebacteria is divided into three types. What are those? Halophiles, methanogens, and one more is thermoacidophiles. About thermoacidophiles and the halophiles, we need not to discuss much. But methanogens, we have to consider it much. Reason is that these methanogens are responsible for production of biogas. You heard of biogas, right? Biogas or gobar gas. Yes, so these methanogens are group of bacteria which found in the gut of ruminants, that is found in the dung of the cattle, okay, which is found in the dung of the cattle, which are responsible for the production of biogas. So methanogens, it is a group of archaebacteria, or if you can mention it's only a bacteria also fine. It's a group of bacteria which are found, where it is found? It is found in the dung of the cattle. Okay, it is a group of bacteria which are found in the gut of ruminants. What are the ruminants? Ruminants means, say, some of the animals which belongs to these cattle, sheep, all those, which mainly who are herbivores. There, in their stomach, they'll have the three chambers. Okay, so that's why it is only in that group of animals, cow dung, this type of bacteria can be seen. So it is found in the gut of ruminants, which is responsible for the production of biogas, which are responsible for the production of biogas. You know the importance of biogas, right? Nowadays we are encouraging all the biologically produced products. Okay, even heard of biodiesel. Now it is biofuel, might have heard the biogas. So government has initiated so many programs to encourage this activity, which is towards the nature, not against the nature. So even we have to encourage this kind of methods, which also helps for us to reduce the pollution in our environment. So methanogens are responsible for the production of biogas. So biogas is produced from where? It is produced from the dung of the animals, which is produced from the dung of these animals. So you can expect a question. So sometimes question used to come, what are methanogens? Methanogens is a group of archaebacteria which are found in the gut of ruminants, which is responsible for the production of biogas. So the gas produced in the biogas, it is methane. What is that? It is methane. So where it is produced? It is from the dung of these animals. So this is about the archaebacteria. So hope you think, and I make sure that you have cleared about the archaebacteria. So next we will understand the shapes of bacteria. Okay, what are the different shapes of bacteria based on their shape? Okay, so what are the different types of bacteria or bacteria of different shapes? Bacteria of different shape. I have given a question I have asked in the last video was question that was, who discovered the bacteria? Answer is, have you got the answer? Yes, it is Anton von Leeuwenhoek. Anton von Leeuwenhoek has discovered bacteria from the scrap of his teeth as well as. Okay, he has invented this bacteria. He has discovered bacteria with this very easily available material. Shows that bacteria can present everywhere. It can present in any condition. So shapes of bacteria. There are 3 types of bacteria are there, or bacteria are categorized into 4 types based on their shapes. So what are those shapes? So we have 3 types. How many types? 4 types of bacteria based on their shape. The first one is of circular shaped. If the bacteria is of circular shaped, then that type of bacteria is called as cocci. Okay, so cocci, and there is 2 terms can be seen, cocci as well as coccus. Okay, cocci is plural and coccus is singular. Okay, cocci means if the bacteria is of circular in shape, then it is cocci. Then if the bacteria is of rod shaped, okay, if the bacteria is of rod shaped, then it is known as bacilli. What is that? It's known as bacilli. If the bacteria is in the shape of rod shaped structures, then it is known as this type of bacteria is called as bacilli. Plural is bacilli, singular is bacillus. Then third type of bacteria, which is of which shape they are, if they are shaped of spiral shaped. If the shape of the bacteria is like spiral, you know, spirally coiled structure. So if the shape of bacteria is spiral, and it will have the flagella. I told you bacteria will have the flagella. Based on number of flagella, it is named into different types. Okay, and this flagella helps for their movement. Okay. So if the bacteria is of which shape it is, if it is shaped of spiral shaped, then it is called as spirilla. Okay, its name is spirilla, and plural is spirilla and singular is spirillum. Then the last type of bacteria, which of another shape, is comma shaped. Comma shaped, then it is known as Vibrio. Vibrio is called as comma shaped. The bacteria of comma shaped, then that type of bacteria is called as Vibrio or Vibrium. So these are the 4 kinds of bacteria based on their shape. Vibrio is plural and Vibrium is a singular. So if the bacteria is of comma shaped, then it is known as Vibrio. So these are the 4 types of bacteria based on their shape. So first one is cocci. It is if it is circular in shape, okay. If the bacteria is of circular in structure, then it is known as or spherical. You can also say it as a spherical. Better you use it as spherical. If the bacteria is of rod shaped, then it is bacillus. If the bacteria is of spiral shaped, then it is known as spirilla. If the bacteria is of comma shaped, then it is known as Vibrio or Vibrium. Now I want to show you the chart which I have shown you in the last video. Okay, if it is not clear, please excuse me. Just I want to make you clear this coccus bacteria, which is of spherical shaped, based on their number, it is named as mono. If it is separate, it's monococcus. If it is in chain, more than 3, 4 it comes, it means streptococcus. If it is in colony, it is called as staphylococcus. Okay, now I shown you the different shapes of bacteria, kinds of bacteria. It is cocci is there, bacillus, vibrios, and spirilla. Then next is about their see, I just told you the bacteria streptococcus and as well as staphylococcus, right? It is one kind of cocci bacteria itself. Now the diseases. We are going to study now next about the benefits and disadvantage of these harmful effects of bacteria. Let me give some examples where it causes diseases in animals. It is like pneumonia is caused by Diplococcus pneumoniae. Then tetanus is caused by Clostridium tetani. Then boils is caused by Staphylococcus. Cholera is caused by Vibrio cholera. Likewise, it is also cause diseases in plants. For example, in Xanthomonas citri, it causes citrus. In the citrus canker, you can see a black spot. You can see in the lemon, you can see a dark spot. ಲಿಂಬೆ ಹಣ್ಣಿನ ಮೇಲೆ ಒಂದು ಡಾರ್ಕ್ ಸ್ಪಾಟ್ ಕಾಣಿಸುತ್ತೆ. ಅದೊಂದು ಡಿಸೀಸ್. ಆ ಡಿಸೀಸ್ಗಿರೋ ಹೆಸರು ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಆಸ್ citrus canker, which is caused by a bacteria. Then also you can see another disease, that is Pseudomonas. All this you need not to study about this. Just for your general information, I am telling. Okay. Then these are some disease caused on plants. Fire blight. ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ನೋಡಿರ್ತೀರಿ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಪ್ಲಾಂಟ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲ ಕೆಲವೊಂದು ಡಿಸೀಸ್. I just want to make you clear that some of those diseases are caused by this bacteria. Then importance. Bacteria to have the importance in production of antibiotics. For example, streptomycin, then lactobacillus, which helps for the curdling of milk, rhizobium bacterium, which helps in the nitrogen fixation, then Clostridium acetobutylicum, acetobutylicum helps in the production of vitamin B. So by overall, I want to tell you that bacteria is not only of harmful effects, it also have the beneficial activities also it provides us. Okay, so next we will continue with the next type of bacteria, that is eubacteria. What's the next type of bacteria? It is a eubacteria. So before going to the eubacteria, shall we study about the mode of nutrition in this bacteria? Mode of nutrition, it is of 2 types are there. They can be photosynthetic, chemosynthetic. Bacteria in the mode of nutrition in bacteria. We are going to learn now mode of nutrition in bacteria. What are the 2 kinds of nutrition in bacteria? So two types of nutrition can be seen. They can be autotrophic and they can be heterotrophic. If it is autotrophic, by two methods it can synthesize its food. That is, they can be photoautotrophs and they can be chemoautotrophs. They can be photoautotrophs and they can be chemoautotrophs. And heterotrophic, in that sometimes they can be a saprophytic and they can be a parasitic. And parasitic means they can be live inside or outside. We call it as they can be ectoparasite if it is found on the outer surface. If it is found on the inner surface of animals, usually bacteria causes many diseases even on the skin as well as. So that means, and sometimes inside the body also it affects the body. So we call it as, which lives inside, it is called as endoparasite. Which lives outside the body, it is a ectoparasite. So let us talk about this bacteria mode of nutrition. So it shows that they shows extensive metabolic diversity. Even though they're very simple, they are prokaryotic. If you consider their metabolic activity, they shows a complex metabolic diversity. That's why they can synthesize their food using the sunlight. Even they can synthesize their food using the chemical energy. So chemosynthetic, chemoautotrophs means synthesize their food from inorganic substance. Synthesis of food from inorganic substance. Then that is called as chemoautotrophs. Synthesis of food from inorganic substance. What is photoautotrophs? Synthesis of food using the sunlight. Okay. Synthesis of food using sunlight or using light energy. So this is the three types of mode of nutrition. So what is the meaning of heterotrophs? It means that they cannot synthesize their food by themselves. They cannot synthesize their food by themselves. So they depend on other organisms or on organic matter for their survival. Okay. So one more thing I left to say, that bacteria, once I said they are very diverse in nature, can be seen everywhere. Then next we also found they are complex in behavior, which shows high metabolic diversity. And another nature which makes them survive in anywhere is the presence of their cell wall. The cell wall is made up of a chemical substance called as peptidoglycan, murin, or it can be a peptidoglycan. These some points may not be there in your textbook, children's. Okay, those points I am referring to let it be useful for your NEET examination. Okay, so murin and peptidoglycan is the substance by which the cell wall of bacteria is made up of. Okay, murin or peptidoglycan, the cell wall is made up of this substance. Okay, even though they are very simple, they are very small, they are unicellular, but their nature, they are complex in their behavior. So next we will go in studying with the eubacteria. You know, eu means what? Always you might have heard in biology, eukaryotes. Then many where you can see this word eu. So whenever the term eu comes, it means that it's true. Okay, eu means it is a true. So eubacteria is nothing but it is a true bacteria. Why it is a true bacteria? Why it is a true bacteria? Because it can synthesize their own food. Eubacteria, it is a true bacteria, and they are characteristics features, like they are they are possessing a cell wall, presence of cell wall. Cell wall is present. How it is presence of a rigid cell wall? It is presence of a rigid cell wall. Eubacteria features I am telling now. It is a presence of a rigid cell wall, and it may also have flagellum if it is a motile. Presence of a flagellum if it is a motile. If it is a motile, there will be a flagellum also can be seen. Then presence of a rigid cell wall. Then this group is also called as cyanobacteria. This group of bacteria is also called as cyanobacteria, or which also can be called as blue-green algae. It is also referred as blue-green algae. So this speciality is that why it is called as blue-green algae, I will show you with the help of a diagram. Okay, you also should draw this diagram in your notebook. So this is the cyanobacteria. It has a presence of a rigid cell wall. So I told you it is called as blue-green algae because it has that nature. Okay, its covering is made up of a blue, and as well as it gives a appearance of that. Okay, and this blue-green algae can fix the atmospheric nitrogen because they possess a specialized cell. Okay, that specialized cell which is responsible for fixing the atmospheric nitrogen. It's called as heterocyst. You can expect a question. What is a heterocyst? Heterocyst is a specialized cell found in the cyanobacteria which is responsible for fixing the atmospheric nitrogen. Then inside also it has to fill like this. Then this covering is the mucilaginous covering. What is that? It is a mucilaginous covering. So this is a blue-green algae. So blue-green algae is nothing but it is one of the type of eubacteria which is also called as cyanobacteria. Why it is called as true bacteria? Because it can synthesize its own food, and it is how it can synthesize the food because there is a presence of chlorophyll A. It has presence of the chlorophyll A which is present in the plants as well as. So they are responsible for the presence of this chlorophyll A. How they are helpful? So this also, because of this, they can synthesize their food using the sunlight. So they are chlorophyll A. Because of the presence of chlorophyll A, they are photoautotrophs. They are photoautotrophs. So next class, in detail, I will start with this cyanobacteria. Okay, again I will discuss about that more information about the cyanobacteria, and you will study about the heterotrophic bacteria and about the mycoplasma as well as. So in this class you have studied what are the topics you have studied in this class. We have started with the kingdom Monera, then kingdom Monera, how it is divided into three types: Archaebacteria, then Eubacteria and cyanobacteria, then one of the smallest living cell which is called as mycoplasma also comes under this category. Then Archaebacteria is divided into three types based on their ability to survive in the different conditions. So that are halophiles, thermoacidophiles, and methanogens. Halophiles which lives in salty areas, thermoacidophiles found in the extreme temperature conditions, then methanogens which found in the gut of ruminants and are responsible for the production of biogas. Then we have understood about the eubacteria. Yes, then we have seen the shapes of bacteria with the 4 types of bacteria: Cocci, Bacillus, then Vibrio, then Spirilla. Then mode of nutrition. Even though bacteria look simple and they are prokaryotic, they exhibit extensive metabolic diversity. They can either they synthesize food by themselves, so they can be autotroph, they can be heterotroph. Autotrophs means they can also synthesize their food using the sunlight. Chemoautotrophs means they synthesize the organic food using the inorganic substance. Then we have started with the eubacteria, that is cyanobacteria, and this cyanobacteria we will learn in the coming session. So hope you got cleared, and please draw the diagram of the cyanobacteria and keep it ready, and please write the notes clearly, and if in case if you have any doubts, please ask me.